I guess we don't know what we don't want. Oh, well, we know what we don't want.
Yep.
It's not that we don't know the character.
Yeah.
The character can be various things. So I think, what I'd sort of love actors to appreciate, understand, is that the kind of the casting process is character evolution. It's kind of, the character is evolving and taking shape in our mind, and then sort of, the actor that you always had envisaged for that role sort of says, "Oh no, I'm not interested or I'm not available," and you got to rethink it. So you've got to be open to sort of to go in different territory. I'll tell you the story of casting the feature film The Interview with
Right.
Hugo Weaving, Tony Martin, and what happened is we auditioned so many people. And we asked Hugo if he would audition, and he said, "No, no, no, I'm not interested in audition." His agent said, but he's happy to be offered the role. It's like, okay, so he's interested. And after weeks of auditioning, and it's just we just didn't find the person that captured the enigmatic kind of, duplicitous but outwardly trusted soul of that character. And Hugo came in, and it was like new character, new film, new territory. He created a territory, and because let's face it, we think there's a kind of we go back as actors and we go and do more training to be better. This is what we're trying to do. We're going to be better and better and better. If that was the case, if training was the be all and end all, if training was the be all and end all to sort of, to booking a role, then why doesn't every NIDA graduate have the same career as Cate Blanchett or Hugo Weaving or kind of, all those people that graduated from NIDA? Therefore, what I'm saying is Hugo and Cate and all that kind of thing and all those other fabulous, fabulous graduates from NIDA, it's like what they've done is they've taken on the techniques, the training, and now, and a bit like I always use the analogy of a sporting star. A sporting star doesn't have to remind themselves of the technical skills required to do a golf swing or do a forehand in tennis or something like that. They just know when they're in the middle of the game. At game time, that technique's there. I don't have to concentrate on it. I don't have to show it. What I have to use is my instinct of what the next moment is in this match, and that's what I'd love actors to sort of, how I'd love them to approach self-tapes, screen tests, auditions, whatever it is. Just allow instinct to be your kind of your flag, your the kind of the thing that drives your choices, your instinct.
That's a great point because I know from my experience sometimes I end up getting in my own head space and thinking, wait a minute, what do they want to see? What do they want? And I start to try and move towards what I think they want rather than listening and trusting my own instinct.
Take kind of inspiration from artists, painting, and things like that. And there they are. They're alone. Also, they're doing a self tape when they go to their studio and they're standing in front of a canvas and on an easel. It's just them. And it's the one, and if you look at the kind of the great artists, the kind of great contemporary artists, they're not kind of, creating an identity, creating a kind of a respect by sort of being right, by getting it right, by having that as their goal. It's kind of, impressionist art. Be an impressionist actor. Give us an impression of the character.
So do you think instinct is important when it comes to like, how do you suggest actors inject life and spontaneity into a take when they are just staring at the lens in their spare bedroom over and over again, getting frustrated perhaps?
For a start, let's look at Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, actors like that, who are, and I mean, I'd say Sam Rockwell. I'm a big fan of Sam Rockwell, for instance. The thing is, in respect of those actors, they're not showing their technique. They're not showing their ability as an actor. They're discovering territory that's totally different and unique. And I think part of the problem is in the audition process. I'm not talking about on set. I'm talking about the audition process.
Yeah.
The audition is when you kind of dissect the character and the character's kind of, what backstory and childhood and upbringing and all that kind of thing. That happens in rehearsal. That happens when you've read the full script. You know who's playing your wife, your brother, your lover, your mother. Okay, you know that kind of territory. And now you can start to use those parameters. But for an audition, It's like you get stuck talking, you get stuck with a kind of, a solid relationship to the page, as there's a lot of drama training teaches you to do. When you get stuck, having the strongest relationship you have is with the page. Because what do? You get out a highlighter pen and you say, angrily or something like that. No, don't get a highlighter pen. Get a black texter and black it out. All those actors, those or drama teachers that say, "What is the character feeling on that line?" And then you go, "Well, they're upset, right upset in the margin." What? You've got a preordained feeling coming up to a moment in this character's life that is in 5 lines time. And what goes through your head? What goes through your head when you're delivering that audition? It's kind of like you're getting ready to be upset because now you're visualizing the page because you've spent so much time looking at the page. You're not visualizing that character or that relationship or that location, that setting, that community. You're visualizing the page. And what do you see at that moment when you arrive at that moment in your audition? You remember one word, upset, because that's the line, that's the word you wrote in the margin.
Is this what you mean when you often say the script isn't the priority, the character is?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have all the best intentions, but you just, especially your self-taping, and I'm over analytical anyway, so you just end up getting caught in your head. You have to step back and realize and realign to what the priorities actually are, what you are trying to achieve and how you're trying to get there and what's worked for you in the past.
But it's also, I think, keep in mind when you're doing an audition, keep in mind the audience. And I'm not saying, it's a big important casting director. I'm saying it's people who are looking at your performance and you're the 28th person they've seen who are all the right gender, right age, right look, right, doing the same material again and again and again. Imagine this. Imagine being in a theatre and you're sitting there in the theatre and an actor comes out and stands front centre stage and delivers a scene. And we applaud the actor leaves stage. Next actor comes out, stands in exactly the same spot, exactly the same relationship and eye line to the audience, and delivers exactly the same material. When, as an audience member in that theatre, do you want to go, we're right, mate, we've seen that one. Yeah, you can go now. And so I'm just asking, and this is a lot of the training that I have with actors because it is audition only. I'm just talking about the audition. And I'm talking about the fact of sort of understand the relationship, reverse engineer your audition and sit in the seat of the audience, the casting director, what I call the audition audience. Because it's only going to be seen by 2, 3, 4 people, but each one of those has the ability, the opportunity, the potential to change your career.
Yeah.
But not if you deliver the same that we've just seen or are about to see. Or importantly, the expectation of who you are, the relationship you have with that casting director. They know you always come here, one of the interesting things I get, more so to do with the room, if an actor came in and sort of, a character was angry, how do most actors display anger? Volume. They shut. And so often I have to go out and if you're old enough to have sat in a waiting room and hear the previous actor and they're shouting, you're going, oh my God, I've got to shout. I've got to shout. Where do I shout? I shout there and I shout.
It could be so unsettling.
And I have to go out to the waiting room and go, guys, don't shout. Don't shout. No shouting, okay? I've seen shouting. I don't need to see any more.
Because it's the context too. I mean, if you're having an argument set in a busy cafe, you can be angry without any volume. You're mindful of your surroundings. You're caught up in conveying what you need to affect the other character. And yeah, that's really interesting that you point that out.
And so often with writers and scripts, and especially if you're doing, maybe daytime TV, soap opera, the description of the feeling of the character, the emotion of the character is simplistic, literal and complete. So it's angry, it's sad, it's kind of, it's words that sort of are really clearly, concisely drawn. Why? Because the script is actually not a document for the actor. It's a document for the producer. because the writer is writing something to impress a producer. They'll say, yeah, let's make this.